We are the ETE, and European trains inspire us to represent them in miniature. The railway map of Europe displays a wonderful network of trains covering many countries for passenger travel. Most are accessible using rail passes, offering unlimited combinations. Germany, Austria, Switzerland, Denmark and Sweden, Netherlands and Belgium, France, Spain and Portugal, Italy, Great Britain.
Hi, I'm Tom Elka. We're going on a tour of some dynamic and fascinating European railways. Our interest comes from their density, diversity, and technology. ETE membership consists of rail fans and chapters across North America. Our activities include travel, photography, railway history, and collecting model trains.
Signal's just cleared, so let's go. Some of us have friends or family in Europe, but some of us don't. Either way, we find that European trains are so advanced and exciting that we often choose to acquire models that will maintain our interest until our next visit to Europe. So the construction of model European railways here at home has become an ideal way to feed our interest. It is, of course, not always possible to acquire sufficient space in one's home or apartment, as this member has done. Others may want to take on something smaller before they tackle a home layout, or yet may just enjoy the group camaraderie. Here is a complete modular unit that you can build and enjoy as a small railway that can travel and then neatly combine with others. This standard unit is about 5 feet long and 2 feet wide and has folding legs. The ETE modules got their start in this chapter in Sacramento years ago. The members there display their modules every November at the International Rail Fair in Roseville and throughout the year in other venues. Modules give you a wonderful way to enjoy model railroading on what can become a very large modular layout and also be a forum to discuss railways with like-minded friends and audiences. One member here shows a tabletop, self-contained display.
In the early 1990s, Dave Pryor, a longtime ETE member, spearheaded an update to the standards and formed the Bay Area Modular Special Interest Group, or SIG for short. Those standards appear on the ETE website and were published in the Express magazine. Subsequently, some chapters have made additional refinements and changes to meet their individual needs. However, efforts have been made to retain the ability to connect between chapters modules using an adapter plate, thus allowing for joint chapter operations. In addition to the standard module shown earlier, there are corner and specially shaped units that make an interesting layout and allow for challenging configurations.
This is a normal module, what we call a normal module as opposed to a corner. It is approximately 5 feet in length. It's really 1.5 meters, and it's 2 feet wide. We have already cut out the front profile board on this module, and we're having a little mountain kind of in the middle, which we will tunnel through. This is supposed to represent typical Swiss scenery. We are applying, again, the cardboard strips, and I would like to point out some of the details that we're working on. We cut out little cardboard modules for the tunnel portals, and we're going to have an avalanche shelter roof right here, and we've cut a long straight piece of cardboard and a cardboard backup for the wall. You can see we've already installed the wall here. On this side of the module, we have 2 more tunnel portals, which again, we model so that we can go ahead and put on the foam model of the wall itself, or the tunnel portal itself. Normally, one would install catenary after laying the track and getting all the scenery down. But of course, in this case, since there's a tunnel, we installed it already. For module purposes, we use summer felt catenary. And the reason for that is it is extremely sturdy. All the poles are made out of metal, and they screw down from the bottom very firmly into the plywood base of the module. You can see that we've already modeled the mountain here from the cutout and then carried it back for strength. On this particular module, we're going to have hidden passing tracks here so that we can put trains on and off the layout. Every module is required, every normal module is required to have a signal for the stopping of trains. And in this case, the modeler has elected to install the semaphore type signal. Here is what we call a distance signal, and here's what we call a force signal down here. This small signal lets the train operator know what the next signal down the line, what its aspect is. Since this is going to be more or less on a mountainside here, we've built a cardboard model of our retaining wall, and we'll eventually glue the retaining wall right here to the side of the mountain. This is the module adjacent to the one where we began the hidden siding, and here is the exit tunnel. And the hidden tracks will merge into one and come out through the tunnel onto the switch and onto the main line of the layout again.
Clinics often help in building modules. Now Dave Pryor highlights the construction of a corner module along with the scenicking work that he does so well.
Here is a model of the corner modules we'll be building today. We will be building this module showing the basic benchwork all the way up to basic scenery. This is the benchwork of a basic module of the corner variety. One thing we've done in our module group here is have made mandatory profile boards on the ends of each module. And you'll notice that the back here is higher than the front down here. The tracks are set in about, the first track is set in about 6 inches from the front of the module. And what this does is we try to get away from the tabletop look that so many modules have. And in addition to that, having the tracks set in a little farther gives us the possibility for a passing siding on the front side of the module. The other thing that I'd like to show with this basic module is, in addition to the profile board, if you'll see in back here, we have cut out a basic profile for the back of the module. This further gets away from the tabletop look. The front of the module we have not yet done, but Stretch Anderson will cut along a pre-marked line here that I've already made to show you how we do that.
Hold the module.
So this gives us our basic front pattern here, and there's no reason to be fancy or anything about it. We just draw a basic, just a line or whatever you think might look good to you, and proceed from there. And then of course in time we'll cut the rest of the module. The next thing we do on these modules, once the profile is cut, we lay down our track board where the track will go. And as you can see here, we've already put blocks so that the track board is flush with the module ends, like this. And it fits in very nicely. On the corner modules, we wanted to go one step farther. We didn't want to have them flat since it's on a curve. We wanted to super elevate these modules. Or excuse me, we wanted to super elevate the track board. So we have marked off a place.
Turn this around, Dave. So
yeah, let me turn this around. We've marked off a place here where we can put a block to super elevate the track board. And we've raised it about 1/4 of an inch so that there'll just be a slight super elevation as the train comes around on the tracks. Might be in front of them here. And we use drywall screws. They're a lot easier to work with than normal screws. They're a little thinner. We have the block in here, and we go ahead and put the track board on. And I've noticed on the corner modules, once we have that center block here, there's really there's no reason to put any further bracing on this plywood. We're using about 1/2 inch ply right here for the track board. Okay, here's a module that is somewhat done. We've cut the profile board completely around and around and back. And I've begun to put on what I like to use, cardboard strips, as the base for my scenery. Now, you just take ordinary strips of cardboard. These were just cut out of a big sheet, corrugated cardboard. It's not necessary to use anything that heavy if you don't want. Some people use lighter type of cardboard, just whatever you have available. I cut them about 1 inch wide with a hobby knife. And then I use a hot glue gun to glue them in place. And the way I like to do it is I kind of work the cardboard a little bit, get it a little bit flexible, a little bit pliable, and I glue what I would call the back side, put a little glue on here, back side of the cardboard strip like this, and put it down like that. And there's no reason to be fancy about this. I just kind of sometimes let this cardboard flow where it will. It kind of gets an average up and down contour, something that you might find in nature. Nature is far from being very symmetrical or anything like that. And then on the front side of the track board, as you see, let's trim that off with a little hobby knife here. I'll glue it on the top of that and then double that over like that. I'll tell you one thing about this hot glue is you don't want to get it on your fingers while it's hot. It really roasts them real good. Now up on top here, I've finished about half of it, and then this section here I've kind of let go for the demonstration. And what I do here is we've laid the long strips here like this, And then we kind of weave them with a basket weave effect, like on this side. So I'll just take that and put that under, and you can see I've done one already going across. I do this one opposite of that.
The cardboard should be press board too, as opposed to corrugated.
Pardon?
The cardboard should be press
Oh yes, right. Any kind of cardboard will work just fine. Some people use chicken wire and put paper mache on it. But this is a technique that for me is very easy and is very controllable. And the materials are cheap. Cardboard's practically free. I haven't bought any yet. Okay, the next part of the demonstration is how I plaster the finished cardboard webbing once it's done. And here's some cardboard webbing once it's done. This is an extremely messy procedure. I strongly recommend you buy those cheapy vinyl gloves that are disposable and use those. On my modules and on the corner modules so far, I'm using a product called Scenic, which is available at train shows, and I bought this at a hobby shop in Las Vegas, believe it or not. It was about $30 for a bucket like this. Somebody told me this is the same stuff that tapers use on the walls. I don't know if that's true or not. But anyway, it works very well. And any compounds that you would premix yourself, such as hydrocal, probably work just as well. Oh, I then take shop towels. These towels are used, you know, they're a little extra heavy paper towel that's used, you know, in, you know, I guess mechanical shops or whatever, because people get their hands extra dirty or for extra clean, extra dirty places. And you buy these, I bought these at Price Club, I think. And they're fairly inexpensive. They come in squares. Okay, here we are. This is what they look like. I tear them up into little squares, little quarters, because they're a lot easier to work with. They're about as big as my hand. And I take and stick it in the, don't be bashful, this is messy. Stick it in the compound here and then just kind of rub the stuff in. And just kind of lay it out wherever you think it might look good. And it's going to get all over, you can't avoid that. Then the next one I take and I will overlap. This particular compound dries very, very, very hard, has a very long drying time. It dries very hard. So that once...
How long is a long drying time?
About a week. It takes about a week for this to dry fully. Now one thing that's important is you need to get it up here on onto your track board so that there's no gap between the you don't want too much plaster loading up on that. Your track and your ballast are going to go there. Hey, here's a module that we've plastered over. It's very hard, as you can see, using exactly the same technique we've been looking at. And it's a very strong but not too brittle plaster. It doesn't chip very easily. Now, this module, I have some dummy track laid on here. I'm not a big believer in putting my track down before I do my scenery, because after you see what we do with the scenery, you'll wonder how the track could ever live through it. But I put that on here so you can see how it comes around. Now once my plaster's set up And during the setup period, you can carve little things in it if you want once it gets to that point. On this particular piece of thing, I made kind of a, what looks like a cut here, and I just kind of smooth that out a little bit with my hand as I was doing the plaster up against a piece of cardboard here. What I like to do now is paint the plaster. I use a latex paint. This is Sears Brand X. I don't know what color it is. And it's a basic brown type of paint, which I use as kind of a foundation. And you can ladle this on as thick as you want and try to cover all your crevices. The nice thing about this paint, it's water soluble, so it's easy to clean your brushes and clean yourself if you get it on yourself. Now, while my paint is still wet, I put on the ground foam, and I put on a base coat of Woodland Scenic's Earth Blend. I think this is number T50, and I just kind of put this on as a base. Now, for everything that I want to have an earth blend on it. And because the paint's wet, it'll stick pretty well. Yeah, what a lot of people do, you're right, and I've done it too, is if you spray this first with a little bit of water with a little bit of soap in it, just a little bit of soap, then the scenic cement will tend to just soak right in. But you can see if I had track on there, you don't have that much control over this stuff, and it gets all over. Having soaked it pretty well, for normal woody country and green country like the rolling hills you find a lot in Germany, I use a blended turf called Green Blend, which is Woodland Scenic's number T49. And again, I get my friendly Woodland Scenic shaker bottle and just sprinkle it on. Now, the reason I like to put two colors on here on top of the brown is because I just think it gives a whole lot of extra added depth to your scenery. Woodland Scenics make some other products. They're called coarse turf. And what I like to do is take a little bit of this coarse turf and use them as bushes. And this immediately lends quite a little bit of scenic interest. I just kind of press it on there. Wherever you feel like you want a bush, or a group of bushes. And they have various different colors of this. They have a green, and they have yellows and oranges for autumn, if you like that. And that's basically it. Does anybody have any questions? And we're done. Thank you.
Where you're going to put the mast. Since we have scenery here, the best way to do it is to put a little nail there. And then cut the head of the nail. And the point is marked here. These things are very solid. This is steel and steel. And once you have it bolted in there, you can lift the layout with the pole.
Really?
Oh yeah, yeah, look.
I believe you.
It's very, very strong.
Overhead wire, called catenary, is a necessity on European modules because the majority of the mainline trains draw power from above. Our construction design allows for AC, DC, and digital track or overhead power collection. Care must be taken for smooth soldering so as to not snag a pantograph on a passing train. Our modules are often set up at members' homes or at chapter meetings where adequate space exists, like large school or church rooms. Members find these a lot of fun, find out more about the modules, generate interest in SIG participation, and run their trains.
Excuse me.
Major venues for showings are also possible, but more about that later.
When your module is complete, you still have to safely transport it. Advanced planning is mandatory, or you may be running on a damaged railway.
SUVs or trucks are great for moving modules, but if not at hand, often friends with large vehicles can be enlisted for help. Some of our members have enclosed trailers which can handle a number of modules easily, but even then they need to be well secured. Even a small trailer to transport your modules is a great asset. The important thing is to cover the module in a leg-folded position with a solid top like 1/4 inch plywood. If designed well, a firmly built unit can rest on end and will withstand riding upright or on its side to allow fitting in the vehicle. Here is a single module on its way to the show. The corner modules are often owned by the chapter or SIGs, but the regular modules are the property of the builder. Upon arrival at a show site, care must be taken in setting up the modules for smooth operation.
Shoot a little bit of video.
Why don't you turn the catenary power off?
But after the setup is complete and tested, it's showtime. Let's take a look at a few of the many fine trains, structures, and landscape seen on some of the modules built by ETE chapter members. Other areas viewed could be seaside, major city, industrial, or open farmland. Spectators are always surprised to learn that the electric engines can get their power from the overhead. Here is what is recognized by many local members as the pièce de résistance of fine-scale detail work. This delightful little train was built by Dr. Morton Grosser, and the passengers are easy to identify as members of the San Francisco Bay chapter. An ancient train may proceed ahead of the latest high-speed passenger train. One can never be sure of what may pass by next. A two-day private special session was arranged at a school auditorium to get shots of equipment under the best conditions. These trains were running at the 2000 EuroWest show, located in, what else, but a South San Francisco warehouse dedicated to German beer. You may note the products surrounding the thirsty operators.
Squeal those brakes.
In August of 2000, the National Model Railroad Association held its annual convention in San Jose, California, and our San Francisco Bay Area chapter was invited to participate. This little visitor seems to be favorably impressed.
And back them up slow. Okay here.
This little fellow was with us most of the day.
Is there a reason why that freight train stopped?
We may have a future club member here.
Sometimes a venue provides the opportunity to display modules under ideal conditions.
Recently, a chapter was invited to show in a well-known museum for a period of over 6 weeks. This did require much time and effort. 2 operators and at least 1 audience host were on duty for 7 hours a day, 5 days a week. Selecting the appropriate power supply and building a firm power control is very important.
See the boat over here too. Dad? What? Here.
Members not formally involved with the Module SIG group offered to assist, helping to make the show a resounding success. A collection of crocodile locomotives varying from Z up to 1 scale. On some days of operation, special countries are featured.
It's true that greater distances are traveled. Our locomotives do nothing along the highway.
You have to wait for this guy to get off the track.
Our landscape generally duplicates that of Germany, Switzerland, and Austria to enable a large group of modules to look consistent when shown together. Note the continuity of color and texture from one module to the next.
Latest state-of-the-art ground transportation.
Austrian OBB equipment with employee caps, a station master hand signal, and a locomotive medallion.
There, it's something not right.
Spectators who have visited Europe are delighted to see our lifelike landscaping. All the rolling stock is owned by our individual members. You can see the latest manufacturer's models as well as classic rolling stock of great value.
My T-train, I don't know, I had that going yesterday, and that was part of, I think, our...
The module scenery standards come through with the consistency of look and feel between the separate units.
Like a whole bunch were where the trains go.
What's not coming this way?
No, it doesn't look like they have it going that way right now.
Display venues are only limited by your imagination. Our layouts here have no designated era or age. In life, old steam trains often do run today on special railfan trips or on museum lines with beautifully restored equipment. Each builder of a module may design whatever landscape he or she wishes. After all, we operate trains of many more countries than just Central Europe. Electrical and mechanical compatibility is our primary design requirement.
Well, we appreciate all our enthusiasm. They usually operate efficiently, electrical power, specialty technology, the latest state-of-the-art.
On the closing day, Bill Juergens was asked to give a special, well-attended public talk on travel in Switzerland.
We have covered a lot in this video. Of course, there are many things to be considered about modular model railroading. ETE can provide a wealth of information. Recognizing that ETE includes modeling and a lot more, would our group be of interest to you? Why not visit our website for more information, www.ete.org. We hope you've enjoyed this view of our ETE modules and look forward to greeting you as an additional European rail fan. Thanks and happy railroading.